The Republican Party is no longer conservative. It has switched its allegiance from the principles that gave it purpose to a man whose only purpose is his.
As you all know, today I made a request for what we've referred to as a gag order. I'm not here to do anything except listen to everyone in the courtroom, but I ask that you believe in the proof, believe in the facts. This video is irrefutable evidence, a stunning courtroom appearance that left onlookers talking. Sean Diddy Combs, once a titan of music and entertainment, faced a new...
And as a military guy, I've always respected strength in leadership. And Trump is the opposite of that. He's a whiny, weak, small, tiny man who is scared to death.
Set of shocking allegations. The mogul who had once graced global stages and red carpets now shuffled into a wood-paneled New York courtroom, looking almost unrecognizable. Reports describe his appearance as bloated and disheveled, with his tan prison-issued jumpsuit hanging loosely and a scruffy gray beard framing a face that seemed to carry the weight of the world. Gone was the polished image of the Bad Boy Records mastermind. Instead, what stood before the court was a man visibly worn down by months of incarceration, legal battles, and public scrutiny. Diddy, his voice calm yet firm, stated, "I'm 100% innocent of the charges against me. I hope, over time..."
Donald Trump is a weak man pretending to be strong. He is a small man pretending to be big. He's a faithless man pretending to be righteous. He's a perpetrator who can't stop playing the victim.
The truth will come out. The hearing, which was packed with a mix of legal experts, family members, including his mother Janice and children, and curious onlookers, marked a pivotal moment. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-partner, has filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of abuse, assault, and coercion. As the courtroom buzzed with murmurs, the details of the new allegations began to emerge. These charges stretched beyond personal relationships and into professional misconduct. Prosecutors claim that Diddy used his...
The odor, the stench, the stink. How bad is it? What do you know about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. I mean, think about the best way to describe it. I've tried to take armpits, ketchup, like a butt, and kind of put it in a blender, and makeup, and put that all in a blender, and and you bottle that as a cologne. That's kind of that. But it's amazing. I've been amazed that, everybody's just kind of learning about this now. But again, I think the bigger point is he's a weak human being. But look at this. He had his people respond to me on this.
Business empire to control and exploit employees, subjecting them to harsh working conditions, intimidation, and manipulation. Amidst the tension, the controversy surrounding a viral 2016 surveillance video resurfaced. The footage showed what appeared to be an intense altercation between Diddy and Cassie in a hotel hallway, with Diddy seen chasing after her and engaging in a physical confrontation. The video sparked outrage online and reignited debates about power dynamics in high-profile relationships. However, Diddy's legal team challenged the video's authenticity, claiming it was tampered with and altered to exaggerate the incident. Diddy's lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, told reporters, "We believe this footage has been manipulated for sensationalism."
America, because he's not going to take on actual tough people, because then he may have a fight, and he's a coward. I mean, he really is scared to death. He's I think of a 6-year-old boy that's still trying to earn his father's approval. That's Donald Trump. But he can try to pick a fight with our friends because he knows it's not going to start a war, and it makes him look tough. He looks super tough in his mind next to Canada. The other interesting thing is he claims that we got a bad trade deal with Canada and Mexico. It's like 1984, where we're supposed to forget what happened yesterday when he negotiated the USMCA and called it the greatest trade agreement ever negotiated. So what is it? Trump, make a decision. It is so counter to who America's soul is. We rebelled against exactly what we have in government right now. And I think that natural kind of feeling is still alive in the American people. And so we want to take America back from the oligarch class thing. And I think that could start to develop over the next few months and really turn into something that...
And we intend to prove that in court. A spokesperson for the network that aired the footage, however, denied the claims. insisting that the video had been verified and was presented as received. Cassie's legal team dismissed the defense's assertions, emphasizing that the truth cannot be edited. The video speaks for itself, said her attorney, Douglas Wigdor. As the trial approaches, Diddy faces serious federal charges of trafficking and racketeering, and he remains in custody without bail. If convicted, he could face life in prison. With jury selection set for May and the opening statements later that month, the stakes are incredibly high. The courtroom is not only the venue for these legal battles but also a focal point of broader cultural conversations about power, accountability, and justice. Inside the courtroom, Diddy appeared calm, occasionally offering reassuring gestures to his family, but sources close to him reported that he was struggling under the pressure. He's been denied bail multiple times due to concerns over potential witness tampering. Despite this, Diddy still maintains—
I'm going to tell him he was the worst president the United States of America ever had. He was a liar. He was a charlatan. And he was a man with a more fragile ego than anybody I've ever met, which the irony of it is he walks around like the tough guy, but he's the one that gets more offended and wounded and sad than anybody I know. I'm also going to tell him that it was the moment that I hope America hit the bottom of, its slide towards authoritarianism and the moment we woke up. I hope he's proud of what I've done. I'm confident he will be because, short of this thing really going off the rails, this thing being our country in this experiment, I think we're going to look back and say, wow, that was a moment we might have flown too close to the sun and we can never do that again. That's my hope and prayer, because if not, we're in real trouble.
An air of confidence, occasionally whispering to his legal team or shaking his head in frustration. Meanwhile, Cassie has largely remained out of the public eye, focusing on her well-being and family, but her accusations have only grown in weight. For her, this case isn't just about seeking justice for herself, it's about shining a light on broader systemic issues. The legal drama has sparked polarized reactions on social media, with some rallying behind Cassie, while others believe Diddy is being unfairly targeted due to his wealth and influence. As new allegations emerge, now including claims of exploitation in his professional environment, Diddy's empire seems to be under intense scrutiny. Prosecutors have suggested that employees working under Diddy's leadership were subjected to extreme conditions, including long hours and constant intimidation. One anonymous former associate described working for Diddy as a mix of inspiration and fear, walking on eggshells every day due to his unpredictable reactions. These revelations have added to the growing picture of alleged misuse of power within Diddy's business.
And he went to the people that would reflect back to him. Again, a narcissistic personality seeks this out. People that reflect back his own things that he needs to make himself feel good, that tell him how good he is. And that, of course, was the far right. They were happy to do that. Initially, they manipulated Donald Trump, and then now Donald Trump owns them. And so I think that's all it is. I think it is all about himself. He can't be seen as a loser, and he has no empathy for anything but himself. And I think that's really the best explanation of why he's doing
business operations. Diddy's defense team continues to argue that the accusations are exaggerated or fabricated, with Agnifilo claiming that Diddy is the victim of a smear campaign. This is a man who built an empire, he argued. People are taking advantage of the moment to tarnish his legacy. The case has captivated the public, with social media buzzing with debates about the allegations, the timing of the claims, and whether they are part of a broader reckoning or a targeted attempt to bring down a powerful figure. Cassie's legal team remains resolute, calling for accountability and emphasizing that this is not just about one person, it's about a larger issue. As the trial date draws closer, the pressure on both sides intensifies. The outcome could determine not only Diddy's legal future, but his legacy. For Cassie and the other accusers, this is a chance to have their voices heard and demand accountability. With each new development, the stakes grow higher, and the world waits to see what will unfold in what is sure to be one of the most closely watched trials in recent history. As tensions build, one question remains central. Who will the jury believe? Certainly. Here's a more expanded rewrite of the text.
Despite Trump's personal attacks against you and promises of retribution, not to mention many death threats that you have received since you have been speaking out, you say that you have zero fear of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Why?
Look,
how, I should say.
I've been to war, okay? Donald Trump, I'm not trying to just be partisan shots here. He is a small, weak man who is scared to death of people. He's scared to death of strong people. And so for me, I refuse to be intimidated. I didn't break the law. All I did was get answers for the American people. If you want to come after me, you have to make something up. And by the way, if you make something up, I'm going to use that and become twice the pain in your backside that I ever have been if you're going to come after me for no reason. And the American people won't stand for it. They may have elected Donald Trump, but they still want the law and the justice system to work as it should.
As many of you are aware, I made a request today for what we initially referred to as a gag order. I'm not here to walk out of court with anything but a firm stance on what I believe is the truth. I'm just here to listen to everyone, let the facts speak for themselves, and hope that justice prevails. This stunning courtroom appearance left onlookers stunned, with Shaw Diddy Combs, once a colossal figure in the music and entertainment world, now facing a series of new and serious allegations. The man who once ruled the global stage and commanded the red carpet now shuffled into a New York courtroom, almost unrecognizable to those who had long admired him. Reports of his appearance indicated a noticeable transformation, bloated and unkempt, with his tan prison-issued jumpsuit hanging loosely around him and a scruffy gray beard giving him a look that seemed to carry the burden of a lifetime of controversy. Gone was the polished, larger-than-life figure of Bad Boy Records' mastermind. Instead, what stood before the court was a man who appeared weathered and broken by months of incarceration, legal battles, and public scrutiny. This hearing, which was supposed to address the latest batch of allegations, set the stage for yet another chapter in his already complex legal saga. A chapter filled with heavy accusations, some leveled against him by his former partner, Cassie Ventura. She had filed a civil lawsuit claiming to be a victim of abuse and assault at the hands of Diddy. The courtroom buzzed with murmurs as more damning details surfaced, but Diddy vehemently denied all of the charges. His defense? A firm insistence that the accusations were all lies. As Diddy sat there, hoping that the truth would eventually come to light, it seemed as though the weight of these legal battles, both personal and professional, might be beginning to take a toll. In the gallery, his family sat in support, his mother, Janice, and his children, all visibly concerned but holding on to a sense of resilience.
It's him. There's no empathy for anything. There's no empathy for the country. I mean, my guess is probably a significant amount of our presidents have been narcissists, right? You got to be to run for president to an extent, but they're not narcissists to the point where they're going to burn down the country. They understand that their job and their moment in history is to try to make the country better. Some have, some haven't, but they do their best as flawed people. Donald Trump doesn't care about any of that. All he cares about is...
As Diddy entered the room, he greeted them with a faint smile and a two-handed kiss, a rare moment of warmth in an otherwise tense and dramatic day. But this brief show of affection did little to lighten the seriousness of the charges that were soon laid before him. What followed was a laundry list of allegations, with accusations that seemed to extend far beyond personal relationships and into the very heart of his professional empire. Prosecutors alleged that Diddy had created an atmosphere of fear and intimidation in his business, forcing employees to work long hours and comply with his every demand. The scope of these claims painted a troubling portrait of a man accused of using his power and influence to coerce and exploit those within his orbit. Some were even allegedly pressured into actions far beyond their professional responsibilities. All of this was further complicated by a viral surveillance video that had surfaced earlier in the year. The video, dating back to 2016, allegedly depicted a violent altercation between Diddy and his then-partner Cassie in a hotel hallway in Los Angeles. The footage, which was disturbing to say the least, showed
Donald Trump is a loser who keeps losing, and I think to lose again will be important to heal this nation, and frankly, you have one very sick party in the GOP. To begin to heal that, they have...
Diddy chasing after Cassie, grabbing her, and engaging in what many perceived as aggressive and physically violent behavior. The video quickly spread across social media, sparking outrage and reigniting discussions about abuse and power dynamics in high-profile relationships. In response to the video's circulation, Diddy's legal team moved quickly to challenge its authenticity. They claimed the video had been tampered with, that its editing had been manipulated to exaggerate the severity and speed of the altercation. According to Diddy's defense, the original version of the tape had been destroyed, leaving only an altered clip as evidence. This claim sparked even more public outrage, and the network that had aired the video was quick to deny the allegations, affirming that the video had been verified and was shown in its unaltered form. Cassie's legal team was resolute in their stance, dismissing the defense's attempt to discredit the footage as nothing more than a desperate attempt to avoid accountability. They argued that the video spoke for itself and was a critical piece of evidence, underscoring the troubling patterns of behavior that would be central to the trial. U.S. judge has now ruled that Diddy will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May.
That's what he does. I mean, look, he's built a cult. He's really built a cult of personality. And when you go after the leader of a cult, it's almost like going after somebody's religion, because this is what they have taken. Everything they do is built on this idea that Donald Trump's going to save America. So the vitriol is crazy. What did shock me a little bit is getting texts from old friends. My co-pilot I flew with in Iraq texting me that he's ashamed to have ever flown with me. Extended family members that basically sent a certified letter, which I guess they still have, sent to my parents' house disowning me and saying I'm part of the devil's army. I mean, that's when you see, and I'm not saying that for sympathy, but this is what's happening to families all around this country, is they're being torn apart for a man that is more flawed than anybody that's ever sat in the Oval Office.
He has pleaded not guilty to charges alleging that he used his business empire to traffic women and male workers across state lines to participate in recorded performances. If convicted, Diddy faces the possibility of a life sentence. As this courtroom drama continued to unfold, the weight of the spectacle was undeniable. On one side sat Diddy, a mogul once revered for his genius and cultural influence, now forced to defend his character against an avalanche of allegations. On the other side, the growing chorus of voices demanding accountability, painting a far darker portrait of the mogul's private life. At the center of it all stood the question: would the surveillance footage be admitted as evidence? Could it sway the jury? And if it did, how would the case ultimately play out? Despite all the mounting pressure, Diddy's demeanor in court remained calm and composed. He was seen occasionally whispering to his attorneys and shaking his head in frustration, but when asked by the judge if he understood the charges against him, he responded with a firm, "Yes, I do, sir." Yet those close to him described a man who was clearly under immense strain. Sources within his camp revealed that Diddy had been struggling to adapt to life behind bars, where he has been held without bail since his arrest earlier this year. The repeated denials of bail had only added to his pressure, with prosecutors citing concerns about potential witness tampering as a reason for keeping him in custody. Despite all the speculation about Diddy's mental and emotional state, those close to him remained hopeful that he would somehow navigate this storm and emerge unscathed. Some even believed that his case could take years to litigate, and that he may be held at the MDC for the long haul, until his trial finally reaches its conclusion. There was also talk of a possible transfer to a different facility, such as Essex County Jail, though it remains unclear if that will happen.
And then Donald Trump comes along, and Donald Trump has no commitment to truth. I mean, this is the thing, is every president in the history of our country has at least had a basic commitment to saying the truth sometimes, right? Or at least saying, I want, when I get out of here, to leave a country stronger than I came in. Donald Trump came in and basically has said, it's all about me. The only thing that matters to him is his ego and what that means for him, not for the country. So yes, he takes probably the lion's share of the blame.